The patch notes for the mid-chapter part 2 are now out. Okay, so first off, the Deathslingers go through a bunch of changes, so let's get into them. He can now no longer shoot until he's fully aimed down his sights. As well as this, there's been an increase to the delay after cancelling a shot before you can start a basic attack, and the movement speed penalty has been decreased while aiming down the sights, and his terror radius has been increased to 32 meters to better match ranged killers. Add-ons for the Deathslinger have also been changed. So these changes are going to affect how he interacts in a chase, because you can no longer instantly swap between aiming down the sights and a basic attack, which I think is going to be a lot better for the survivors, because Deathslinger's been running riot ever since he's been released, so I think these changes are overall good. The Plague is also going for a few changes, so here they are. Infection will increase faster when interacting with something that is currently infected. Base infection duration on objects like generators and windows moves from 35 seconds to 40 seconds, allowing that power to be more active on the map, and there's going to be a huge movement speed buff while on cooldown from using her purge. This is moving from 2.3 to 3.6, which is massive in terms of movement speed. Her power has also been changed so it's more forgiving, so it now works like a huntress hatchet, so if you accidentally come off the power, it's not going to be totally over in the chase. For survivors, there's going to be a nerf to them against the Plague, so there's going to be an increased time to cleanse at a fountain, moving from 6 seconds to 8 seconds. Add-ons have also been changed, and there's a few on the screen right now. Survivor add-ons have been changed. Instead of listing terms like moderately and considerably and all the other terms like that, it will now list their effects, which I think is a great change, and that's the same for killers mentioned in part 1 of this patch. This is going to be the same for add-ons, which give status effects. They will also now be listed. There's also a bunch of perk updates, so I'm just going to list them off and speak about them at the end. So Windows Opportunity is taking a huge buff here. It's still probably not going to make it into play, but it's still a buff nonetheless. So it's not going to have a cooldown now, and it's going to have an increased range to 24, 28, 32 meters, depending on the rarity and the level of it. Repressed Alliance is also going to get a buff, with the time required to activate the perk reduced to 55, 50, or 45 seconds, depending on the level you've got it. Built to Last is going to get a complete rework. I'm not sure on the exact changes. I'm hoping this is good, because I personally have no idea what this perk does, and I'm sure you're in the same boat. Any Means Necessary is also getting a buff, so they've now added an aura reading effect on it for all dropped pallets, which could be good, but I still think this perk is very situational and isn't really going to see play. No Mither is getting a buff, so increased grunts of pain reduction to 25, 50, and 75%, plus they've added an extra 15, 20, or 25% increase to the recovery speed while in the dying state, which I think is going to help those players who like to play on hard mode and pair it well with Tenacity and Unbreakable, so you're going to be getting off the floor very, very quickly. And a killer perk, Mindbreaker / Fearmonger, is also getting a buff, so survivors working on generators will now suffer from blindness in addition to the exhaustion, preventing or reading on generators now. The hatch and keys are also being changed, and I think these are good changes, so let's get into them. The hatch will no longer spawn if there's more than one survivor in the trial. This will prevent the situation where the survivors have free generated themselves, they can't do anything, you're patrolling them, you're doing your job, and they all disappear through the hatch, and it's an awful feeling. This will prevent that happening now. It now takes a few seconds to open the hatch with a key once it's been closed. However, progress won't be reset when a survivor cancels the interaction. And finally, on the key in the hatch, the hidden achievement Where Did They Go has been changed to escape through the hatch using a key, as you can no longer escape as a full team through the hatch because of this change. And finally, Boon Totems, I think that's how you're saying it, are being added into the game. So what these are essentially hex totems for survivors. Survivors will now be given a chance to bless totems. Their blessing will be linked to the survivor's perks. However, killers can cleanse these totems like hexes. They will do it a lot quicker, and they'll also have an audio cue when they're near them. I think this is a change to maybe upcoming perks, maybe linked to the witch survivor that I mentioned in the previous video. So lots of changes there, and I think they're all healthy for the game. I think that the changes for the Deathslinger are very important because that killer is unplayable in my opinion. So thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace.